can turn the chat right here. Chat. Boom. All right. So what I'm going to do today is we are working on looking for another market to see whether or not there is any sort of opportunities in another area. Let's see. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. And what we're doing today is we're going to go to this website on the census. It's called maps.go/ddmv/map.html. And what I'm doing right now is I am looking for the areas where there's the biggest population change. You click on population change, you see that the dark green area shows that there is a gain of more than 10% in population. So why is this important for me? This is how I generally would advise folks to think about why you would want to invest in a certain area. So today I'm just going to go look in the area because I recently looked in Georgia a little bit. So we're going to click into Georgia. And what I'm trying to do is figure out what county in this area had the highest growth. You can see that Atlanta's over here. Okay. And here I'm looking at Atlanta. So this looks like Fulton County had 15.9% population change, 11.3% in Cobb County. DeKalb County was 10.5. So very, very good population growth in these areas. So now I see, okay, Forsyth County, 43.2% population growth. That is a massive amount of growth. If you think about a county that just went from 175,000 people to 250,000 people, that might make you think about, well, might there be opportunities there? Because chances are they might have built 80,000 homes there. Okay, so I'm going to go to Redfin and I'm going to type in Forsyth County. And here's what I'm trying to figure out. Meanwhile that's loading, I'm going to look up the HUD FMR for Forsyth County. So how do we do this, right, guys? We go to HUD FMR. And when you go to HUD FMR, I've been showing this pretty constantly, but when you go to HUD FMR, you click on 40th percentile rent. You scroll all the way down. You want to click on access to small area FMRs. This gives you the fair market rents by area. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm looking up Georgia and I'm looking at Forsyth County. Okay, Forsyth County. And what do we have here, right, guys? We have all the zip codes for the county. We have the fair market rents, which is ceiling rents for what you might be able to achieve at a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom for a housing choice voucher. Okay. Now, this allows me to figure out, like, okay, if I use the 1% rule for a 4-bedroom property, I might want to assume that, hey, if I can get $2,900 for rent, my property must be below $300,000. So in Redfin right now, let me kind of expand this just so, and then I'll shrink it back just so you guys can look at it on Instagram. I'm gonna do filters just so I'm talking out loud. I want my max price to be $300,000, and I want it to be at least a 3-bedroom home. And I'm just gonna come in here and figure out, like, all right, I'm seeing some properties here. I see, let's see, 8120. What are these properties? 725. Interesting. What else do we have in here? Sugar Hill. Get 2 bedrooms in there too. I just kind of want to look around and see what kind of properties are. Oh, interesting. 225,000. 225,000 for 30028. Interesting. Okay, so this is almost 1%, but I'm gonna have a gut feeling that this is not going to be a deal because it doesn't meet the 1% rule yet. It's $2,000 for the max rent for a 2-bedroom property here. And what we see here is this property is $225,000. But hey, you never know. What if you can add an extra bedroom somehow on this property? Let's see. Let's take a quick look at this property. Oh, it's actually pretty well renovated. Surprisingly, there's your mini split. Overall, not a bad property. I don't really see much rehab needed. Could you convert the living room into a? No, you probably don't want to do that. This is on a foundation. retired title. So it is a permanent foundation. I almost thought it was a mobile home because of the shape and the size of it, but it is on a permanent foundation, so you can finance it. Some folks will not finance your property. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to underwrite this property now, okay? And we're going to do one more thing. So what do we always do, right? We get the FMRs for the fair market rents, and we are going to put this property into the owner's market rent estimator. The reason why we're doing this is that we're trying to figure out what the market rent is, because when you are investing in a Section 8 rental, they typically want to see whether or not your rent is reasonable, okay? Now, in order for your rent to be reasonable, it needs to be below the FMR, but also it should not be that much higher than a quote-unquote, than a comparable property with similar amenities in that area, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you guys just exactly how I note down these rents. So on my Excel file, and you guys want my calculator, just DM me with your email, and I'd be happy to share my calculator with you guys. This is a calculator that I have modified through a few folks to underwrite a little bit quicker for my own purposes. I'm going to delete some of these utility allowances because they don't apply here. If this is for a 2-bedroom, excuse me. And typically what I want to do is I'll also get the rents for properties that is 1 bedroom above. Meaning if I decide to add a additional legal bedroom, which means it has multiple exits, has electrical, has air, blah, blah, blah. You can watch our latest podcast with Dr. Joe Azamoah if you do want to figure out what it constitutes as a legal bedroom. And let's see, slide this over a little bit so you guys can see. I'm just simply copying over rents. So the fair market rent for this zip code at 30028. And for you guys watching right now, you guys are probably wondering why is he making me watch all of this stuff? Well, I just want you to see literally this is the work that takes every day. Because if I find a deal, I might just send this Excel file to somebody and say, hey, this is a deal. Would you like to potentially consider buying this deal? Again, this is not a solicitation for investments or anything like that. This is not legal investment advice, but this is the work. This is what I do every single day, and part of my daily habit is I try to underwrite a deal every single day. So let's go ahead and put this all together at $225,000. Let's go to the rehab calculator. If you look at my calculator here, I borrowed the calculator with a lot of line items that details just exactly how much each sort of repair might cost. I typically leave at least $1,500, assuming there's some issues with the roof that might need a little bit of repair that you can't tell in the photos. I leave $500 right here for cleaning up the space and the outdoors and keeping things clean while we're doing it. I always assume that I need to repaint the own home because what if these are all old photos and the inside looks actually pretty crappy. I don't have any flooring right here, so no LVP needed. I typically paid about $8 a square foot in Scottsdale for my properties. That's where I got that number. In every market, chances are it's going to be a little different. I'm right around $3 to $3.50 a square foot to paint the place, so I'm leaving at $3 a square foot for this market for 784 square feet. Okay, we probably just need some new sink. I really like what Ashley Hamilton taught me in one of my older podcasts. I'm going to assume I might need a water heater replacement. I don't think I need any termite issues. Doesn't look like there were any issues, but if there was, then I would know what to do. So what does that leave me? I'm trying to zero that out. So now my total rehab, assuming I don't need any rehab, it's about $9,900 for this property. Okay, let's keep going. So right now I want to underwrite at my ceiling rent. What is my best case scenario here? So if I am keeping this as a 2-bedroom property, my ceiling rent, which is my FMR, is $2,000. As I go down here, I'm going to get the property tax numbers right from Redfin, and you guys can see right here. Property taxes is $3. That's completely wrong. There's no way property tax is $3. That is a red flag to me. I don't know what I'm going to put in there for now, but I'm going to at least put in $100 for now. I'm not sure if that's the real situation. I have to do some research on what the prices are, but for insurance, at least at 116. So at 116, I always add a 20% premium to the property in order to figure out what my interest rate might be for an investment property. Because what they have here on the 116 here on your resident, that's typically assuming you live on the residence as a primary residence. If that is not the case, then what we need to do is put in the insurance number. So the insurance number right now is at 139. We are at $65 for sewer. I'm not sure. I don't think we need to pay for sewer because that number was previously there for our St. Louis market. 8% for property management and 3% for our vacancy. This results in a 2.2% cash and cash return. So right then and there, I know that at $2,000 rent, it is not a deal. At 132 cash flow a month, even if I pay 25% down for this property, and assuming that I have 7.75% as the interest rate on a conventional deal, this is clearly not a deal for me. So for me, I would pass on this deal specifically, and it doesn't look like anything here is going to be a deal unless I find another 2-bedroom property for, let's see, I'm looking for 17% return, so 17.5. Yeah, I probably need to be lowest $130,000 for a 2-bedroom property. Okay, good to know. Well, what if I turn this into a 3-bedroom property? Okay, 2420. Now all of a sudden, if it was 2420 and I bought this property for 200 grand, it's still not a deal. So now, how am I getting my buy boxes? Cool. So I would say if I can get a 3-bedroom property, and I can get the maximum rent, that would make me $800 a month, and that will give me an 18.1% cash on cash return. And this was assuming a purchase price, $225. This is now a $160,000. Oh, this is interesting. Maybe I should start putting my buy boxes right on our Facebook group. So you guys can be like, okay, if you are in this zip code, in this area, here is my minimum purchase price for a 3-bedroom property in Forsyth County. Because one, I found this property or this area because of the population change on the census. I then zoomed in a little bit to try to figure out what are my rents. And once I saw the rents, I knew that my filters need to be below a certain number amount, like using the 1% rule to filter out like what properties do I even want to look like. Because there was no way there's no chance I was going to be able to look through all this property to look through the grant because I knew there was no way they were going to be deals. But by filtering out and looking at using the 1% rule, I knew that 225 wasn't going to be a deal anyways. So as you kind of go through and know what your partner's investment criteria is, like my partners and I look for 17.5% cash return for a long-term rental. If we can get that, great. If not, then chances are we're going to pass and keep looking for another deal. So in this scenario, this is not a deal, but now I might have a buy box where it says like, well, it's 2-bedroom, and now I'm back at $2,000. And let's see, what was the price earlier? 120, I think. Yeah, that's still good. 130. All right, 17%. If I pay $130,000 for a 2-bedroom property, it's going to cash flow 642, and that's going to equal 16.9. And that's for 2-bedroom. So now all of a sudden, I know that in this zip code, my buy box is a 2-bedroom for $130,000 or less, or a 3-bedroom for $160,000 less. So that's all I wanted to share today. Hopefully that was helpful. We went through the entire process, and just to kind of summarize exactly what I did, I used the Census Bureau. I looked for a county where I saw the darkest green color to show that there is a significant amount of growth. You can look here at 43.2% change. And what I then did afterwards was, okay, well, I'm going to look up the HUD FMR, look up the rents by zip code, and using the 1% rule, I knew that my maximum purchase price is 1%. So if I'm looking for 2 bedrooms, my maximum purchase is like 200 grand, just for me to even get started, right? It's a rule of thumb that's used to filter out deals so you don't spend your time looking at every single deal. Otherwise, you're going to burn so much time and you're going to get burnt out and you probably never get started if you spend all your time analyzing and never find anything. So for a 4-bedroom, I might say, well, I need a 4-bedroom property that's under 300 grand. Is that possible? I don't know, but filter it and see what you see in the opportunities. Then we plugged in the address of a property that we found, and we put in the address and the bedroom count to try to get the market rents for this property, which is essentially what I'm calling as my floor. Because if the market rent is 2277 for this property, then chances are I'm going to be able to rent this property for 2277 because the housing authority isn't necessarily going to have a good argument against why I can't charge 2277 when everybody else around me is charging 2277. Make sense? All right, then we plugged in all the numbers, and then we plugged in all of the rehab. So hopefully this was helpful. If you guys need to calculate, just DM me your email at investwithkenthe. And please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Kent_HE. Would really, really appreciate it. If you can give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That's really how we are able to share our affordable housing mission to everyone. I go live every single day trying to underwrite a deal, trying to look for a market, because I think this is going to be really valuable for folks, because sometimes it's very hard for you to recognize what a deal looks like. So every day I do this. This is part of my habit, so that one day when you guys find a deal, you won't hesitate, because you can look back and say, you know what, I underwrote a deal every single day, whether that's doing it yourself or you did it alongside with me watching how I do it. Hopefully that's helpful. All right. Thanks, everyone, and have an amazing day.